Right, welcome everyone. That's 4 o'clock on the dot, so I'm going to get started. Thank you for joining me for the app webinar today. If I'm looking this way, it's just because my bigger screen is here, and what I will be sharing with you is this side, so I'm still looking at you, I promise. I will be discussing our app in general, as well as how to use it at the conference today, so please stick around till the end, and if there are any speakers and moderators specifically, I would like to ask you to also stay around till the end so I can discuss some app-specific things that will apply to you at the conference. And with that, let me share my screen and we can get going. So one of the most often or regular questions we get about the app is how do I log in? And it's pretty easy. It is your normal NOSSCR account login details. So once you download the NOSSCR app, the QR code on the website, and that will also be presented at the conference, isn't Play Store or App Store specific. So when you scan it, it takes you to the relevant store to your device. Once you've downloaded the NOSSCR app, this will be the screen that it opens up to. You will use your normal NOSSCR credentials. If you do not know your NOSSCR credentials, you can either reset it on our website or log in with a one-time password. So the OTP will be emailed to your email. One thing I will note is that some of the single sign-on features within the app, so things that you have access to once you're logged into your NOSSCR account, will not work if you use the OTP. So I highly recommend just logging in. It keeps you logged in, so it doesn't log you out after a certain time. So if you have any problem with that, please email us. We really want people to use the app. It's a very useful tool. And we wouldn't want something silly as a login to prevent that. So once you are logged into the app, I also highly recommend playing around with it a little bit, but I also always immediately go and set my permissions so that I know what I'm sharing and what I'm not sharing with people, because it's we are a membership organization, and as you will see later, if you're a speaker, so some of your information is displayed, but we do ask permission before we share that. So in the app permissions, you will set your time format. Mine is actually 24 because I work on military time. These notification settings will determine whether you get app alerts. I do recommend that you leave those on. I am cognizant of what we send out through the app, and the only reason we will send out a push notification through the app is for important SSA updates and stuff like that we really want our members to know immediately. However, for the conference, if the session reminder is toggled, you will get a push notification 15 minutes before a session that you put in your schedule starts. So if you do not want that, I recommend just untoggling the session reminder, but keeping the notifications toggled. As always, there is some privacy settings, and this doesn't necessarily get displayed to people, but I'm always careful here. So people can only see my email and my work phone, my mobile phone, I mean. No, work phone, okay. One difference between our members and our non-member app experience is that our non-members do not have access to our forum and our member monthly, and that is why the bottom bar will be different for people that are non-members versus members. For our members, the forum is right here at the bottom. It's under news, and the member monthly can be read there too. If you're not a member, or if you are a member and you do not see news, you probably have duplicate accounts. And I recommend you reach out to us to merge those accounts for you so you can have easy access to news. As I already mentioned, we try to be cognizant about what we send out through the app. So alerts and news have different notification settings. If we send out an alert, it should push notification, and if we do the news, it shows up like a feed, like it would in Instagram or Facebook. So you don't necessarily get a push notification for that, but we do try to send out an alert whenever we do post the forum or the member monthly so that people know it's there to read. And this is what a push notification will look like once you receive it. This menu is what a member will see, because if you're not a member, the resource library will move to your bottom navigation bar. So the resource library, we've tried to put everything that is on our website. So helpful links, our resources tab, all of those links and resources will also show up in the resource library. But once you navigate into the resource library, which I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, it's the next point, you will see that there's a distinction between a general library and then events. So in terms of a conference, if you go into the resource library and into events, you will have all the session materials to your disposal there. However, I will note that we are working on a one-click download. So putting all of that together for you, so you can click once, download the zip file, and have all the documentation available to you on your device offline. But if you want to do one by one, it's there in the resource library. Social will just take you to our different social platforms. This is not your social media. It is just the NOSSCR social media. So it will be our Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the things. Also nice now is that the listserv lives in the app. You can still access it outside on a browser in your emails and all the things, but you can also access it from in here. You can make pack donations, and the info is just information about NOSSCR and our contact details. Yes. So as I explained, the resource library has general and events, and under events you will have your session documents. A little bit later I will show how it will show up in each session, but for now that's just the gist of it. Oh, one nice thing, and I tend to use more of the grid view, is that you can change how it displays on your phone, on your device. I feel like tiles give me a better idea of what I'm looking at, but this is all stuff you can set for yourself in that. And as I mentioned, we are trying to get all of the resources that are on the website in the app too. So if you find something that is still not in the app, please email me. I would like to help you with that and put it in the app. So to the listserv, one thing that is unfortunate that I have not been able to get a workaround for is that if you sign in with your email, it takes you out of the app and it doesn't actually sign you in. So, or it sends you a magic link and then it takes you out of the app again. So to sign into the listserv, and again, it signs you in and you stay signed in, just click here below the big blue button on sign in manually, and once you're logged in and you have access to 1 to 3 listservs depending on which you prefer or have been added to. Now, this is a conference specific thing to the app, which I very like. To check in at the NOSSCR conference, usually you would have gone to the registration desk, given them your name, and then they would give you your badge. It's not all that different, however, to prompt people to use the app more and to make our check-in process a little bit faster. And it wasn't necessarily faster in DC this year because it's a new process and people are still learning. But I do recommend having the app downloaded before you get to the registration desk, because you will have to show them your QR code. That automatically checks you in on our system, and there's no manual entering we have to do to get you in our system. Okay. So to get to your QR code in the app, click on menu, go to your profile, and then you will see QR code here. You show that to the ladies at registration and they scan your QR code. We are trying to have these QR codes on your name badges as well. If you would like to share your information with a fellow attendee or an exhibitor or sponsor, they will have the ability to scan this. Only exhibitors and sponsors will have the ability to scan your QR code and get your email and your name. But that is only if you give them permission and actually show them your name badge. On that note, all scanning in our conference game, checking into sessions, or sharing your name badge happens inside the app. So nothing that you are going to scan is going to happen with your usual device camera. It will only happen inside the app. So that's a very important note. And we still had people walking up to the scanners in DC trying to scan it with their camera. Unfortunately, you're not going to get checked in, and you might not have that CLE session on your certificate because you tried to scan it with your camera. So where you will find SmartScan is in the app dashboard. So again, this is conference specific. You go into the app, you go into events, you go into San Diego, and on the event dashboard in the exact same spot, you will see SmartScan. So once you open SmartScan, and you must be logged in to use SmartScan. So I'm not sure if it works if you did OTP. So I prefer people just log in, you scan, you open SmartScan, and then you scan the QR codes wherever they're displayed. So on that note, I'm sure I'm getting ahead of myself again. We will be requiring people to scan in and out of sessions at the conference. There will be tablets at the doors, but the QR code will also be displayed inside the room. So if you do 2 sessions after one another, you won't have to go out of the room and return to sign in and out of the session. It will be displayed on the screen. You can scan it from where you're seated. One thing that people are sometimes worried about is connectivity. So if you are offline, this still works. It saves on your device or in the app. And then once you do have Wi-Fi or better signal, it all uploads and updates. This feature also has the ability to not just scan, but if you are having trouble scanning, there are always like a numerical or alphabetic code connected with the QR code that you can manually type in and then still check in and out of the session. Just explained. So once you scan into a session, you will get a little pop-up that says you are successfully checked into the session. One thing I did notice in DC is that some people's scanning works better than others. So they would be like somewhere behind a person and have their phone angled up, and it would clock the QR code and check them in. So when they actually got to the front and tried again, it would check them out. We're not going to be too strict about that. Obviously, we would like you to have an accurate representation of your attendance in a session. But if that happens, check in again and then check out after the session. It's not the end of the world. We will try to accommodate that as best we can. One thing I will note is that session attendees can't actually see if they, after the notification, if they last checked in or out. So if you really would like to know that, registration desk will have that information. I explained this earlier. So if an exhibitor has purchased the ability to do lead scanning, they have the ability set up within their device and their login to scan those QR codes, either on your phone or on your name badge, which we are going to try to put on there. Those will be saved as scanned leads, and they can email those to themselves when they have time. Moving on. Again, conference specific. The Q&A will be run through the app. So another reason to download the app is to be able to participate in the Q&A. Again, you need to be logged in to participate in the Q&A. The Q&A will, even though it's run through the app, there will be a moderator that will verbally pose the question to the speaker, and the speaker will then verbally answer the question. In the app, moderators and speakers will show which questions have been answered, and if there are any questions that were not answered during the session, speakers do have the ability to go back to those questions and answer them afterwards. So as an attendee, how to post a question. I actually have the sessions are already apologize. Kevin Kerr submitted a question. If you want to play around with this, you can go into the app right now and log into or sign into the conference if you are registered. You will see there is a test session, and there you will be able to play around with it a little bit as Kevin Kerr has done. So once you're in a session, you will see a little Q&A toggle. Click into it. There's a plus sign like displayed here. And then you will ask your question. You can either submit the question to, if there's more than one speaker, the speakers as a whole, or you can pose the question to a specific speaker. You also do not have to display your name with this question. You may submit it anonymously, and that is what that toggle is for. You can upvote questions, which helps with the ones that the moderators choose to present to the speakers. Once a moderator has opened a question, though, you cannot upvote it anymore. So if you would like a question to be bumped to the top, you need to do that preferably before they start with the Q&A section. This is just a little explanation of how you can toggle between questions as a speaker, as a moderator, as an attendee. This will be the same for everyone. So leaving it unanswered shows you how many questions there still is to answer. And then right next to the Q&A, there will be evaluations. So evaluations will be done on session as well as event level. The event evaluation will only be available post-event, but the session evaluations will be available during and after a session. As I just said, event evaluation will be on your dashboard and will be available after the event. One handy thing with the app is that we have a desktop version too. So again, with the downloading of materials, having your laptop there during the session, all of that, you will have almost all of the same accessibility and capability in the desktop version of the app as you do in the mobile version of the app. One thing that the app does not have on the desktop version, I believe, is scanning, which makes sense because you don't want to stand there with your laptop. But you will be able to find the desktop version of the app on our home screen, website home screen. So it's called Hub and Space. There's a little button there. Once you click it, you get to the sign-in screen, and then you land on our app page. Let me see if I can share. Here. So Hub and Space, once you click the button and you're logged in, you land on this space. So if you have added sessions to your agenda, which I will discuss a bit later, they will display here. And once they've started, you can click into them, participate in the Q&A here. Thank you, Kevin. And here is also like your resources, your speakers, evaluation, and if there are any polls and stuff, you will find that here. Just to explore this a little bit more, if you click on events here at the top and you click into San Diego, you will see that you are registered here. If it doesn't say you are registered, either you're not registered or you have duplicate accounts and it is not picking up your registered account. So again, we just reach out to us at NOSSCR@NOSSCR.org, and we will be able to help you with that. So to build your own agenda, you basically just click on these little calendars and they get added to your My Sessions. And then you build your own little agenda for yourself. You can also add it to your calendar, which will put the sessions into your Outlook calendar or whatever. I have not added all the speakers, so this is where you will find the speakers, but you will also find it in the sessions. Like here, and when you click on the sessions, again, you will find their emails and what sessions they are presenting. We also have our exhibitors and our sponsors here. And when you click on them, you can find out more about them here. And certification is yet to be set up, but that will generate a certificate at the end of the conference. I'm not sure if the credits are displayed. It doesn't look like it. We will be sure to put together on the app dashboard, there is a CLE information tile, and there we will put together a summary of how many CLE credit hours there are available, the different state approvals, and the link to our approval sheet with the event approval code and things like that for states like Florida. So back to my sheet. Sorry. So sorry, just while we are on this dashboard, I really do recommend using the desktop version of the app. It is easier to navigate, or easy to navigate in an academic setting. All right, let's go to the rest of the sheet. Apologize, too many tabs open. So like I explained, we've got events, the sessions, Q&A. You can submit it to the specific speaker in the session. And now for the fun part. So to incentivize folks to complete the session and event evaluations and other things during the conference, there will be a game zone. So again, it will be in the dashboard in the event app, and there will be a leaderboard which will be displayed on screens throughout the conference, and there will be prizes afterwards. So a lot of QR codes going on, so it's important to keep it all straight. Game QR codes will be designated as such, so you're not going to scan a session QR code for a game. So game QR codes will be on different paper and will be in spots. Maybe there will be like an Easter egg hunt to find QR codes in hidden places, but mostly they will probably be on exhibitor tables and stuff like that. So just to start from the beginning, again, the game requires you to be logged in. It's on the event dashboard, and it's a little controller, like a PlayStation controller. You earn points. There will also be, so part of the game will be uploading pictures of the conference to the app photo gallery. If you do not want your picture taken, please go into your registration and make sure you untick the box where we asked for permission. So just another preventative measure there. But you can upload pictures to the photo gallery that will earn you points. Only registrants of the event will be able to access the game module. So if you're registered, you go into the game once the conference has started. It won't be available prior. Please come see us at the registration desk and we will fix that for you so you can win prizes. The game will only be accessible by the start and end times of the conference. If it's not started, you will get a pop-up that would say it's not available yet. So your board will show you the points that you've earned. The leaderboard will show you, compared to other attendees, where you are. Game rules will tell you how to earn points. I'm not sure if there will be a daily quiz or just a quiz throughout the conference. We're still deciding, but it's quite a fun part of the game. We'll probably ask some NOSSCR questions, board member questions, stuff like that. And then again, the QR zone is where you will go in to actually scan a QR code associated with the game. So like I said, the game rules explain how you get points. That's what the quiz looks like. And submitting of the quiz. It's a fun part of the game, of the conference, and I do recommend participating. It's a fun time. This is just all explanations of what it looks like. A lot of information here. And if you've already done the quiz, it will tell you that you've already done the quiz. So that is all I have today. I'm not sure if you guys can access the chat, but if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A. I will be happy to answer them, or you can email me at esterine.keats@nosscr.org. Let me put that in the chat. But yeah, that's about what I have for you guys today. I would love to get some feedback from our members on what you think of the app. If there are some features you feel like are missing, I'm always open to feedback, constructive feedback. So happy to try and make those changes if you guys give me some feedback. But that is all I have for you today. If we have speakers and moderators present, I would like you to stay, and I will give everyone a few minutes to leave. Welcome, speakers and moderators. Thank you for staying. I appreciate it. Let me just make sure I'm sharing the right screen. The speaker and moderator training is not that much different than the full training I just gave. However, one important thing to note is that moderators will only be working within the desktop version of the app, because that is the only place you can delete comments. Or yes, mostly delete comments. So we do require moderators to use their desktop versions of the app. You can still do that on your phone. You will just log in through your browser and not through the actual app on your phone. So with that being said, let's get going. I got a question here. Will speakers be doing anything in the app? Not really. However, not really in the session. So if there are questions that are not answered during the session, that is when speakers will be in the app and answer questions outside of the session. So like I mentioned, if questions remain unanswered, speakers do have the ability to go into the app and answer those questions. However, catch of that is that you can't actually type a question in the app, so that you will have to do on the desktop version of the app, and then the attendees will be able to access those. I think questions remain in the app for about a week, or just right after the entire conference ends. So speakers have the duration of the conference to answer those outstanding questions. Right. Okay, so on the desktop and the app version, questions are submitted on the session level. So it's not in the conference as a whole, it's inside the sessions. Like you already saw that I explained, there's a little Q&A toggle. People click into that, and accessing that will be the same for moderators as well as attendees. But again, as I said, moderators will have to use the desktop version of the app. I wonder if I can split my screen. Great, guys, just give me a second. There we go. So moderators will be working on this interface, and the Q&A will be on the sidebar instead of the little toggle in the app. So let me get to the test session where Kevin so kindly gave us a question. So why the moderators need to be in the desktop version so that they can delete unnecessary, unhelpful, unwanted questions. I will also warn that we do sometimes get weirdly worded questions, so it is not wrong at all to skip that question and have the speaker address that question after, because what happens is the moderator reads the question, the participant that submitted the question sees that it's misunderstood, and then they yell out from the audience. And the bad thing with that is that we're recording these sessions, and so anyone that's a virtual attendee or that watches it after does not get that clarification. So we would prefer that everything stays on the app, and it is totally fine to skip a question so that the speaker can answer it later. One thing to note for moderators is that once a question is marked as answered, it cannot be unmarked as unanswered. So just be cautious with that. But it's all pretty straightforward. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but there will be a speaker app training every morning where I will be in the room. You can ask me questions. We can play around in the app. If you have any questions, I will be there. So no need to worry. As I already said, the Q&A is on the sidebar of the desktop version of the app. And once you hover over the question, there's a little trash can. And once you click it, it asks you, or if you want to delete, yes, confirm delete, and you say yes or no. And then the question disappears from our attendees view. I already marked it as answered, unfortunately. But if it hasn't been marked as answered, it will have a little blue button, and you click the button and it changes to answered. Doing that is important so that attendees can filter between unanswered, answered, and all questions. So we ask that you please mark those questions as answered. As I already explained, this is how the attendees will be accessing the Q&A, and moderators will verbally present the question to the speaker, and the speaker will verbally answer the question, and then it will be marked as answered. I think we're still getting to it. I'm gonna increase my screen again. If a user wants to post a new question, they do the plus mark. It gives them all the options. They type it in. They decide if they want to pose it to a specific speaker or just in general, and they can decide if it's anonymous or not. Again, I will be giving all of you this document after, so no worries if I'm scrolling through some information. As I already mentioned, users can upvote a question, but once a moderator opens it, they can no longer vote, just so it doesn't jump around on the screen and the moderator loses their place. Sorting, answered, unanswered. So on the phone, and I do recommend that speakers specifically silent this part, or silence or turn off the notifications of these things, because we're not necessarily answering the questions in the app. When a speaker is not in the app and they get a question, they will receive a pop-up notification or a push notification like this. So if you have your phone on you and you do not want to get these notifications the entire time you're speaking. I recommend turning that off, and how to do that will be discussed somewhere. How to find, I will show you guys how to turn it off, but how to find questions that were not answered or answered. There's an alerts tab on the event dashboard. In the alerts, there's a distinction between alerts and notifications. You will click on notifications and it will show you that it was part of a Q&A. Once you go into it, it will unmark. You can mark it again, but if you just want to select all and mark them as read when you've answered all the questions, but the notifications are still showing as unread, you can just click on edit there in the top button and then select all and mark as read or delete. I feel like this is kind of common sense, but it's important to note that a speaker cannot pose a question to himself. And you won't have that ability in the app, so you won't have the little plus icon. Speakers cannot upvote questions in their own session either. This is what I explained earlier. If the app is open, so if the speaker is actually on the app during their session, they will get a pop-up that will show the question, and if you click see question, it will take you to the question. This is probably not how it's going to work because speakers won't be on their phones and moderators will be in the desktop version of the app. Okay, here's the the setting. If the speaker or moderators does not want the question notification to pop up, then the speaker or moderator can click on the bell icon under the all questions. So here it is, that little bell, and that will turn the notifications off. So maybe just something to look at before your session. If you turn it off for any one session, it will be turned off for all sessions. If your app is closed, there will be a push notification, and if your app is open, it will be a pop-up notification. Okay, we already discussed the sorting. This is how it will look if a question is unanswered, and that is what it will look like if a question is answered. And that is all for the speakers and moderators. I feel like it's pretty straightforward, but we did have some people that felt unsure, so I just wanted to have this discussion with everyone so people feel more comfortable. But like I said, I will be there every morning. Before sessions start, there will be a half an hour speaker app training available. And that is all from me. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A. Otherwise, that is all I have for you guys, and it's 4:40. Thank you very much for your time. Right. I'm gonna give a few more seconds for questions, but otherwise you guys can jump off. Thank you for joining me.